This is our 1031 Exchange Secrets Revealed. I am Tomekia Hunt. I'm your loan officer with Cross Country Mortgage, where we have all of the things that you need. And on today, we want to bring you all some added value. So I've invited Mr. Myka Artis and his wife Mahogany. And also we've invited Daniel Osman. He's with deferred.com. So I just want to give you a quick overview, a little bit of a background on who they are. We're going to go through a few things here with our agenda, but I just want to pull up a little bit about their story and their bio, and you can read it if you can see it. I'm not sure if you're on your phones or not. Myka and Mahogany Artists began their journey in 2016 with the providing high quality short-term and mid-term rental housing while building generational wealth for their family through real estate. I can personally say I've known the Artist family probably since they started this journey or before they started this journey. So we've gotten to know each other very well, have never met in person, but God is good and thank you for technology. Myka leads the way in educating others on short-term and mid-term rental strategies and is the host of Live, Let, Thrive, one of the longest running podcasts in the space where he shares practical insights and lessons from his journey. Mahogany inspires women through her Empowerment and Alignment Network podcast, encouraging them to overcome challenges and succeed in every area of life. Together, Myka and Mahogany not only share their strategies to inspire families to create financial freedom and generational wealth, but they also actively help manage short-term and mid-term rentals for other property owners in Dallas, Fort Worth, and Central Arkansas. All right, Mr. Daniel Osman is a CPA. He partners with investors, brokers, developers, family offices, CPAs, and attorneys to make 1031 exchanges simple and compliant. So important. At deferred.com, that's one F, two R's, he's part of the team revolutionizing the exchange process by removing fees and adding transparency. Daniel previously led sales and operations at Balance Homes, expanded service offerings at the Home Depot, and worked in M&A advisory at Deloitte and Touche. Am I pronouncing that right? Let's hope so.
You nailed it.
I got it. Oh my goodness. So we are going to open today with Daniel, and we just have a few questions for him. And Daniel, I did throw your slides in there. So if you want me to go to any of your slides, definitely let me know which ones to go to. But we want to start out with what is a 1031 exchange? What is it all about? Why do investors use it? And what are some of your timelines and like-kind properties? What are some of the rules behind it?
Okay, amazing. Yeah, if you want to scroll through, there's probably I think one of the next slides then will be yeah, keep if you go two more, let's see. One more for me, it should be the next one.
There we
So
go.
so what is a 1031 exchange? Most people it can be very complicated. I like to simplify it. A 1031 is just selling investment property and buying another investment property, but then it lets you defer taxes. So there's a few rules you have to follow. You'll see on that right, there's like a little picture kind of thing going on, but essentially people will tell you about two timelines of the 1031, but there's actually three. There's one that no one talks about. And the first is to have a 1031, you need to work with a qualified intermediary. That's what I am. You'll hear people say it as an exchange accommodator, a QI. If you don't have a QI set up in place before your sale closes, your exchange is toast and you're paying the tax bill. And I absolutely hate it. I get 2 to 3 calls a week of someone who just closed this. They're like, I just closed yesterday. I want to set up an exchange. And I hate it, but I have to tell them it's too late. They have to pay the tax bill because they wanted to do it and they had the intention of doing it, but no one around them told them about that first timeline of having a QI in place. The other two timelines are the 45 days to identify and 180 days to complete the exchange. I always like to ask a question like, who here knows how long the 1031's been around for? Any guesses?
I would say 20 years.
I would
20
say about,
years? Mike, I saw
that,
you unmute.
I'd probably say about 40.
40 years. It's funny, like the average I get is someone says in the 70s it was created. 1031's actually been around for 104 years.
Wow.
1921 is when it was introduced. everyone thinks it's relatively new or it's like some voodoo magic. They're like, what do you mean I don't have to pay taxes? It's actually started with horses and cattle. And so
Hmm.
that's why you hear the term boot. But it's been around for 104 years. It's not new. It's up until 2017 when they did the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, you actually used to 1031 private artwork, private jets, cars. You could do some crazy things, but now it's only real estate. So it's been around forever. And Albert Einstein says, the eighth wonder of the world uh, is compounding interest, and I think the ninth wonder of the world is the 1031 exchange. I don't know another tax loophole that lets you sell something for millions of dollars in gains and not pay taxes on it.
Super. So the item that we're talking about is an investment home, right?
Yeah. So it has to be an investment property. So that could be short-term rental. It could be land held for investment. It could be something that you've tried to invest to rent. Like, technically, it could be something you held
Mm-hmm.
to for investment. And so you don't necessarily need rental income. There are two call outs because that's a good question, Tamika. This always confuses people, but two groups of folks that don't qualify for 1031 are developers and fix and flippers.
Okay.
Um, Developers, there's a way if you structure your entities correctly, you can get around it. Fix and flippers, it's tough unless you actually did get rental income. The reason for that is the IRS views developers and fix and flippers. That's your operating income, like that's business income because that's your main source of income and your job. That's not an investment.
So when you think about holding that property and showing it on your taxes, you're talking about it must have been reported on your Schedule E with rent coming in at some point.
So it doesn't have to, but that helps a lot. People always say, you'll hear CPAs say you need to own the property for a year or 2 years, but the tax code actually doesn't define a timeline, which is actually kind of annoying, honestly, because it'd be much easier if they just came out and said there was a timeline. But the definition is your intent when you purchase the property must have been to hold it for investment purposes. And so I actually have a client who bought a piece of land for 3 months, and they didn't think they could do a 1031 because they only held it for 3 months. But they got an offer from Microsoft who wants to build a data storage center there, and like it was an offer they can't refuse. And I said, that's not your fault that you got an offer you can't refuse. Your intent when you bought it was to hold it for investment, so that still qualifies, in my opinion.
Okay. So if you have that client that owns land, their intent was to develop it and use it for investment property. Now that they have entered the 1031 exchange, do they have to buy land again, or can they now buy a duplex or something like that?
Yeah, so if your intent was to develop it and sell it, then it wouldn't qualify. But in terms of like being able to mix asset classes, so that's one of the biggest misconceptions with the 1031. Um, if I'm selling an office building, I have to buy an office building. That's actually not the case. You can buy anything. You can sell an office building and go into a single family home. You could sell a single family home and buy oil and gas rights. You can sell oil and gas rights and buy an office building as long as it's like kind. So like that's the word that I have it on the slide here, but like kind, because you'll hear 1031 exchange like kind. That those two words like kind cause a lot of confusion. What
Okay.
like kind really means is that you are selling US real estate for investment or business and buying real estate in the US used for investment or business. And you
Lots
can actually do international exchanges.
like
So, if
US. It's got to be for investment and business. So why do people come to you?
so like deferred like a QI or deferred specifically, like what makes us
Yeah,
unique.
like walk us through the what you do in the process.
Oh, got it. Yeah. So as a qualified intermediary, we have kind of two main jobs. The first is to safeguard your proceeds. So one of the rules with a 1031, for some reason, the IRS made it where you can't have constructive receipt of your funds, meaning you can't control the funds, you can't hold on to them. And so you have to work with an independent agent. And so a qualified intermediary is a safe harbor that you can use. So a lot of people might make the mistake of I'll just use my attorney or CPA. if you've paid them for services in the last 2 years, they're actually considered a disqualified agent. They're not considered independent. So I see a lot of people make that mistake. So your best bet is go to a qualified intermediary. They're a safe harbor. You can use them repeatedly. But our main job is safeguard your proceeds. And then our second job is to facilitate your exchange and make sure it's correct.
Okay. So looking at your timeline here, sell property on day one. Let's see, identify the new property by the 45th day.
Yeah. So that's what gets most people, Micah, as someone who's done 1031s, you could probably relate, but most people have a heartburn over the 45-day deadline.
Right.
Um, you have 45 days to submit what's called an identification letter to your qualified intermediary. That identification letter essentially states these are the properties I'm interested in purchasing. Now, the IRS doesn't want to make it super easy for you. So you are limited to 3 properties,
Mm.
or there's also this 200% rule. It's not super common. It only makes sense if you're going to buy multiple properties for smaller amounts, but I can go into the 200% rule. But most people use 3 properties. So you're limited to 3 properties. You can change that ID letter as much as you want. After day 45, it's locked. If on day 46, all 3 properties come off the market, someone bought them, the IRS doesn't care. You can't change those properties. You're stuck. You can't buy any other property. You can't sub them out. You can't buy anything else that's not on your list with tax deferred dollars. Um, I will also call it out just because they're out there and you might talk to one of them one day. We call them accommodating accommodators. And they'll say the 45 days is an issue. Just send me a blank envelope. I'll stuff it later, or we'll backdate your letter. There's a few reasons you don't want to do that. They exist. There's people that make a full business off of it. Like I know people who do $100 million exchanges, like really large ones, and they use them because they want that flexibility. But there's problems with that. One is the 1031 is just tax code,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not a law, but there are 2 federal statutes, and they are the 2 timelines, the 45 and 180 day. So
Mm.
if you're caught breaking either timeline, you've committed a federal crime and tax fraud. So you don't want to go to jail. Two, if your qualified intermediary gets audited and they're caught circumventing the 45 days, the IRS is going to audit all their files. And if
Mm.
they're caught circumventing it multiple times, the IRS is going to say, well, this person is actually not an independent qualified agent. And they're going to say any file that this intermediary did is actually not is void and like not unqualifying. And so those people are going to have to pay back taxes.
Wow.
Third, this has never made sense to me, but the IRS requires you to use a qualified intermediary, but then they don't regulate it. So it's really scary. QIs are actually unregulated. Like you guys
Mm.
can all become QIs tomorrow. There's no certification. There's no rules about where we hold the money.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it's really scary. It makes no sense that they require it but don't regulate it. And so, anyways, I wouldn't want to put my money with someone who's openly willing to break a law and let them hold it. There's been horror stories out there of QIs who have invested in crypto. The 2008 financial crisis, there was a QI investing in mortgages.
Mm.
And then once the crash happened, he had no money left to give his clients back. So, yeah, you really just want to make sure you're working with someone reputable.
Okay. I have another question because I heard that this is doable. Can you do a reverse 1031 exchange?
You sure can. We do a lot of those. So those are when instead of selling then buying, you buy then sell.
Mm-hmm.
And those are great if you have found a property and you're like, I need to have it. Like it's the perfect property. The few things to know about a reverse exchange, it costs a lot more money. There's a lot more legal work and compliance and manual work and risk involved for the QI. So it costs quite a lot more than a forward exchange. And then two, you need to have the funds to make the purchase because you're not going to have the sale proceeds available because you haven't sold anything yet.
So, like, what does your perfect client look like?
Man, perfect client. I don't know. I mean, we work with everyone. I've done $30,000 land deals in South Carolina. I've done $55 million multifamily syndications. Like, I like them all. I don't have a, I, yeah, I haven't had an issue with any client. I
Love
guess
it.
the perfect client is the one that gives me a lot of heads up and like starts the process early with us. We something that makes us unique, like a QI, it takes them it'll take them 2 days to set up an exchange, and then we'll say it takes them a few hours, and then they'll both charge you a $350 rush fee for being so fast.
Mm-hmm.
We our claim to fame is we can set up an exchange in 5 minutes.
Mm.
Um, so we can do it, but like I get a lot of last minute, like, hey, I'm closing today.
Mm.
And so those are always fun.
Yeah, so we have a lot of realtor professionals on. We have a lot of clients and investors themselves, but also just some traditional homeowners that may turn their home into an investment property in the future and then upgrade to another home. So then, like a couple of transactions down the line, this could be favorable for them. But I was going to ask you, when should someone contact you if they have an investment property and they're thinking of reaching out to their realtor professional to list it? When do they get you involved?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as you're thinking you're going to list something, get us involved because we want to dig in to see if there's going to be any titling issues for the taxpayer requirement. So as early as possible, because we will spend as much time with you. It's good to know things ahead of time. And then the next best time is once you're listed, and the next best time is once you're under contract. I think for sure, once you're under contract, you want to get a QI underway so that you don't leave anything to the last minute.
Okay. So I'm going to just share with, oh, Miss Larissa, we have some questions. I'm sorry.
We do have a question. Mr. Randall asked, does the exchange have to be for the equal value?
Yes and no. If your goal is to fully defer the tax bill, it has to be for you want to buy equal and up. And so what it really is your net sales price. So if you sold something for 150,000 and 30,000 was closing costs and commissions, your net sales price is 120. And so or net sales proceeds. So you need to reinvest that 120. But you can do what's called a partial exchange. It's not all or nothing. If you had in that 120,000 example, if you had $100,000 gain, if you bought something for 100 grand, you're 20,000 short. And so instead of $100,000 gain being tax deferred, 80,000, because you're gonna get taxed on that $20,000 shortfall that you didn't reinvest.
All
Do we
right.
have any questions in the chat, Larissa?
We don't have any other questions, but everyone who's listening, if you do have questions, feel free to leave it in the chat or raise your hand and we can answer anything y'all may need.
Thank you, Mr. Randall. That was a really good question, actually. That was
Thank
awesome.
you.
I want to bring Myka and Mahogany on and get their take on a few things. So let's welcome them to the stage as the power investor couple. And they have had experience with the 1031 exchange, and that's how I got to meet Mr. Daniel. So thanks so much for that intro. Myka and Mahogany, do y'all want to do a quick little intro on how y'all got started in investing?
Yeah, we did you want us to share our screen or
Oh yeah, you want to do a
okay.
request?
I think we can. Let me see. We'll just kind of just do a quick overview of like how we've used it.
Yeah, while he's doing that, I'll share how we got started. We got started in 2015. We went to a seminar. I'm sure a lot of y'all know about those hotel seminars where they're trying to tell you ways you can invest. So we went to one of those and they were saying, hey, real estate's the way. So when we left there, we were really excited to buy property. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So we ended up buying a condo and we got started with that with short-term rentals. So that's kind of how we got started. We knew that, real estate was the way. We had tried a couple other businesses that just didn't float. So here we are in the real estate game.
So 2015?
Was it 2015?
Wow.
2016.
2016
is when we bought our first rental property. Yeah.
I love it.
I got a quick question.
Met y'all back in 2016, roughly. So that's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. During our first 1031. I think somebody said they had a question.
Go right ahead.
Yes, this is Phaedra McQuarrie. Do you guys have a YouTube channel? Because I think I've saw do you have YouTube?
Yeah.
We both
Yeah, I
do.
think I've watched you somewhere before I recognized you guys' name. That's what I had to ask.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, all right.
Part-time famous.
So yeah, so back in 2016, I think that's when we met you, Tomekia. We bought our first condo, and like Mahogany said, we bought that condo. We used it as an Airbnb for about, I would say, 2 or 3 years. And after we used it, they basically shut down Airbnb in it, so we ended up turning it into a midterm rental, which is what we mainly do now. We did a 1031 on that property. So after we did the 1031 on that property, we traded it in for this property, which is a 3 bed, 2 bath, single family home. And it's probably, I think the expenses all in on it is probably like 1,400 or so, when we can rent that for like 4,000 a month. Now, mind you, when we did that 1031, we didn't have to pay any taxes on the sale of that condo. So everything from that we put into that to the property in Arkansas, it's just basically pure cash flow. And of course, we have our mortgage on it. And then the second 1031 we did, I think we just finished it, what, 2 months ago?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I will say on this
Yeah,
one
go ahead.
right here, kind of like Daniel said, it was like that time crunch. We were so nervous and scared, y'all, that we weren't going to find something in time. It was a lot of pressure. So I can definitely understand. I like how he broke it down, like what we can and can't do with the 3 properties, because it was a panic mode, but we were able to find it. So,
Yeah.
so go ahead, Micah.
Yeah. And by the way, all of our 1031 exchanges, we've always used deferred for all of them. Really good company. We love working with them. And then our second 1031, and this is what I say, the power of taxes, of not paying taxes, and the power of like the cash flow that you can create. So this property right here, we bought this 2020, dead middle of COVID, but it was in the auction, and we bought this property for like 35,000. We put 35,000 into it. It was all in at we were all in at 70. It appraised at 95. But the first 2 months on Airbnb, we made $10,000 off of it. So when we refinanced it, we got every single cent back. So we got a free house. So we had this for house. I think we just sold it this year, right? So we held it for 5 years, and we then did a 1031 on it, but we 1031 into this duplex. Now the duplex is a 6 bed, 4 bath duplex. And remember, the house we got was completely free. So now we're getting a free duplex, paid no taxes on it. And we're projected, I don't know why this says 4,000, but we're projected more or less to bring about 7 to 8,000 in on this duplex, because it's 2 properties in one as a short-term and midterm rental. So with all that being said, we paid zero taxes. This house basically nothing out of our pocket, because we got a house for free using the BRRRR strategy: buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. And they were now got this property after a 1031, sold it, sold the old other property, got this one, and now we have like a basically a free cash flowing property. So that's like the power of how we use 1031s, and how it's just basically, catapulted our business. And yeah, it's been great working with Deferred, because it's definitely helped. We are considering doing one more, but we're keeping the property because it is a really good property and a really good location. But if I was to do we were to do another one, it would be for like another small multifamily. So when you guys asked about does it have to be a like property, with Deferred, we were able to go from a single family. I think they said we could go up to 4-plex. So I was like, that's not bad at all. So we went from a duplex, from a single family that was 3 beds, 1 bath, to a duplex that's 6 beds, 4 baths. And it's hard to find a 3 bed, 2 bath duplex on each side. And this has been like the greatest thing ever. And then like Mahogany designed all of it, and then I just handle the back end, and she does the front end stuff. So if y'all have any questions, yeah, just let us know.
So you guys basically you use all of your net proceeds when you go buy the next property?
Yeah, we use them, and then we use them to buy the next property. Correct.
Okay.
Hmm. And I think Daniel, you were talking about people who like investors and flippers and stuff. If you want to if you have a property, I know flippers don't qualify, but if you hold the property long enough, if you rather just do the burst strategy, refinance your money out instead of flipping it, you could buy a property that you might not want to hold for a while, let the equity go up, and then do a 1031 exchange on it, and then get a better property in the long run. Like a lot of, I'll go ahead, Daniel.
I was gonna say you're totally right. A lot of people use the 1031 to trade up. It's like the
Yeah.
perfect thing to do if you want to trade up into better income producing properties.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that you're sharing with us really is start with where you are. Like start
Mhm.
with where you are, start with what you have, start with the resources around you. And Myka and Mahogany have a really interesting just story before they even started to have a family of how they got into rentals altogether. You want to share that? You feel comfortable to share that?
Oh yeah, Mahogany.
Our story? Which one?
Oh, so when you first started becoming a landlord or, having a rental space, where was your first rental space?
The condo. Are you talking about the condo?
I'm talking about before that.
Micah's house? No,
Yep.
oh, Micah, you tell that one. Go ahead about the kitty condo and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's actually a really good one to talk about. I don't even know if that loan product's still available, but the one I was telling you guys I was considering doing a 1031 was the first house I ever bought. So I'm originally from Oregon and Washington, me and Mahogany both. She came to Texas for college. I went to Arkansas for college where my family's from. So when I lived in Texas, when I lived in Arkansas, I was in college. And in 2008, when the market crashed, there was like the current administration had to like reboot the economy. Okay, um, so we ended up getting this house called through the Kitty Condo program. So basically, you just have to hold a I think it's 3.0, 3.5 GPA in college. Be a college student, show your transcripts that you're in college, get the down payment, and then someone has to co-sign it. So my parents co-signed on the house. They put the $10,000 down, but the next year on the taxes, you get your complete down payment back.
Mm.
So we got our complete down payment back. So we basically got a free house. And then we turned after I left Arkansas and moved to Texas, we turned that one into a short-term rental. That was our second short-term rental. And we still hold that one today. That's probably one of the best producing ones we have. Um, that one's been great. So yeah, then that's the one we're holding on to. And we're considering 1031 it, but we're probably going to keep it. We'll see. But yeah, that was our first like 2008 when we first got a property. And then we bought another one in 15, another one in 16, another one in 20, another one this year. So we're just slowly starting to build up. And then, there's plenty of ways to people who like if you have no properties at all, there's plenty of programs out there to help you. Like if you're a first-time home buyer, I know NACA's out there. If there's just a bunch of programs. And I know Tomekia is a wealth of knowledge. Daniel's probably a wealth of knowledge because they have access to all this stuff. But yeah, if you guys do have questions, definitely come off mute and we'll do our best to answer them.
Go ahead, Miss Larissa. Oh, you're on mute, sweetheart.
We had a question from Mr. Thrower. He was just saying, are these properties in your name or in your business name?
Okay. Currently at this point in time, we have everything in our name because how we run our business. We run ours so I personally, when I run my business, I lease my property to my LLC, and my LLC runs the short-term and mid-term rental operations. Now, in the future, I am going to move my properties over to a LLC. We may even do that probably within the next year or so. But you don't have to have them in there, but it is for protection purposes, it is better that way. But how we currently have or you can get an umbrella policy, but how we currently have our structure set up, our LLC runs everything from the back end, but yeah, it is better in the future to have them in different LLCs. Also, one thing I was going to add to that, with your personal property, this is a risk, but it also is another thing to look out for. If you do put your personal property in LLC, like if you we like to do home equity lines of credit, it does make it a little bit more difficult with banks if you put your primary residence in an LLC.
That's true.
Yeah.
We also have another question from Miss Long. She says, can you go back to how you bought a house for free money or the strategy?
Which one? The second one or the first one? Well, I'll talk about
you referring to kitty condo?
I think she might be talking about the one we got out the auction.
Oh, the auction.
Okay. So the one out of the auction. Oh, I finally see the chat now. Okay.
Auction.
Okay. So the auction one. So we got that one for free too. So she said auction. Okay. So the one out of the auction was we bought a property. The property was, I think the auction started at like $10,000. Now it's a small 3-bed, 1-bath. Matter of fact, I'll just bring it up here. It was a small 3-bed, 1-bath property. Yeah, it's this one. So the property was in auction. We ended up bidding on it and we got it to 35,000. So we got it off auction.com. We were bidding remotely. We had my dad drive by it and peek in the windows and stuff. You're technically not supposed to knock on the door. So we like, okay, we ain't gonna knock on the door. We'll just peek in some windows. And he kind of like estimated how much it would cost to fix up. So we bought the property for 35,000. Once we got inside of the property, we only seen and needed like 35K worth of work. We fully renovated it. It looked like this, what you're seeing on your screen, and then we set it up as a short-term and mid-term rental. So the first 2 months on Airbnb. Now, this type of money on Airbnb is hard to make nowadays, but like this is back when Airbnb was like booming. So we made like $5,000 in the first 2 months of it being live. So that was 10 grand. We refinanced the property to pull all of our money back out because we were all in. We were out of pocket 70,000. It appraised at 95. So we got like $67,000 cash back from the bank, plus the 10,000 we just made. We were all in at like 77,000 back in our pocket. So we had no money out of pocket. So the house was free. We then rented it for 5 years and then we did a 1031 on it. So that's all basically tax-free money.
So again, you're using what you have to get to another goal, to take another step. I think one of the key things to point out too is, some people who are investors still maintain, W-2 jobs, for income purposes and being able to qualify debt to income on loans and financing. Some people keep their taxes up, showing their proper rents they receive, the proper income, and not overly expressing deductions and write-offs. So that's important to keep in mind too. But there are other programs like the DSCR program, so there are so many different products that you can use to help you kind of attain these goals. But having that partnership in your home, I think, has helped you guys to achieve the success that you have because y'all are on, one accord in your home, and then you have a group of professionals around you to help you to make these things happen. Does anyone else want to come off mute and ask a question or have an experience they would like to share?
I think someone said, do you purchase these deals all cash or you use creative strategies to acquire? I use creative strategies. So the one that I just told you about, we spent the 35,000 on, we used that with a HELOC. So we bought it with a HELOC and then we used the business line of credit to fix it up. So when we refinanced everything back, we paid off the home equity line of credit, paid off the business line of credit, and now we're at zero. And then plus the extra money we had already made. Now we haven't done anything like sub twos or anything like that. We are looking to do that in the future. And then another thing, I think Tomekia was talking about taxes as well. The one thing we didn't touch on this property right here, the current administration just put out the big beautiful bill, and in that big beautiful bill, there's 100% bonus depreciation. So the ones who do work a W-2, if you do the 100% bonus depreciation and the STR tax loophole, which is probably the best tax loophole, and Daniel can probably go further into it if he knows about it. It's probably the best tax loophole out there. You can basically take your losses from this and basically write off your entire W-2 income. And that's what me and Mahogany are doing. We're going to do a cost segregation.
You know how long that full depreciation, 100%, is going to last? How many years?
Daniel, you may know better on that.
Well, they just put it in the law. So unless someone takes out rewrites the tax law now and removes 100%, it's there forever now. So it's a really good, to Myka's point, you could, so traditionally depreciation, you get to offset your income every time you own real estate. That's one of the big benefits of it. You take depreciation every year and it offsets your income as a loss, as a deduction. And traditionally you depreciate over like 27 and a half years on a straight line basis. So it takes 27 and a half years to fully depreciate. With 100% bonus depreciation, you could do that in like 5. And so you're pulling forward all this depreciation in an accelerated way to really offset your income. And so with this STR loophole that Myka's talking about, you can also, if you become like a real estate professional, you have to work a certain number of hours, and then you can offset all your business, all your other W-2 income with your expenses. So it's a really great strategy. So like a lot of couples, one of them will actually just start working in real estate to get the SDR loophole.
Yeah. Who do you do taxes as well? Since you're CPA, do you do taxes
I
as well?
don't, I don't because as a QI, I'm actually not allowed to give tax advice as a QI. So I stopped doing that. I focus fully on the QI business.
Okay, that sounds good. I would
But
like to ask,
I have a lot of CPA recs. So if you need someone who focuses on real estate investors, I can always send recommendations.
yeah, I think that would be helpful. You can send me a couple. I can add them to our database and I can share them with those who are on the meeting today. Um, Myka and Mahogany, if there was one thing that you wish you knew before you started, what would that one thing be?
Oh man, I would say when it comes to buying a property, just going above and beyond on the inspections, like
Mm,
above beyond just, irregular inspections, like really just dig deep, especially when it comes to like plumbing and things like that, because we have had issues like that come up, which ate into our money and our profits. So just really do your due diligence. Don't get too happy and excited until you really just, pick that thing apart to make sure everything's legit and functioning properly. That'd be
okay.
mine.
Yep. Yeah. Now mine definitely is the inspection because yeah, it does cost us money. Inspections, and if the numbers don't work, do not become emotionally attached to the property. Numbers work or they don't work. Don't become emotionally attached to it. We've done that too.
So have you just learned over time how to make sure it's going to work or not? Or have you worked with a professional until you've gotten like to this stage?
When did we
We have
hire our mentor,
mentored.
Mahogany? 2020?
Yeah, around 2020. We hired a mentor, Thatch Win, Springboard to Wealth. It's the ultimate plug. You can tell them Mahogany and Myka sent you if you decide. But they really taught us how to run a performa, make sure the numbers work, know what percentages need to be where. I know a lot of people who do what we do with midterm rentals, they want to evaluate the property's worth based on the short-term, midterm rental numbers, and you can't do that because it may not work. So you always want to just, make sure you can be profitable with the property itself without turning it into a midterm, short-term rental first.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what do you think helps you all like separate the stress of it all? Because there are so many people, I mean, especially even two realtors. I'll meet with the realtor and I'll say, you know what? Why did you get into real estate? And they'll say, because I want to invest in real estate. I hear that all the time. So what do you think is like the proper mindset or I don't know if I'm going to ask this right. What do you think like the top two or three things it takes to really make this like a full-time like gig? What do you think?
Ooh. You want to start, Mahogany, and I'll start?
You could start. Go
You can
ahead.
start. Um, you talked about mindset. I think the mindset has to be there. You can't be interested, you have to be committed.
Mm,
And not only committed, you have to be able to go through the roadblocks and every challenge that you run through, you have to look at it as a learning lesson,
mm-hmm.
right? If you fail, you have to look at it as a learning lesson because you're going to fail. But if you quit, you're not going to get to that end goal. So you have to also have persistence because it's tough. Me and Mahogany, we've been in tough times, we've been in good times, but everything's a learning lesson. It's all, it's just numbers. But you do got to run your numbers right because it can hurt you. But yeah, it's just a matter of being committed. You have to be committed to it. And we decided in 2016, we were just like we had money coming in, our son, we were just like, dang, this is what life is. Just go to work, come home. And then once we started our business, man, we were able to vacation. We were able to take our kids to Disneyland, Disney World, you
That is
know,
good.
and this time spent with your family, that is one of our whys because we can like, even like right now we have flexible jobs. Like we can both be on this call and then,
Mm-hmm.
we're about to go to California next week,
Mm-hmm.
so it's certain things and freedom that we chase and we want that end goal, and one thing we both did, and I would say people don't do this is we wrote a 10-year letter to ourselves of what our life would be like in 10 years. And we
Okay.
write that. And whenever like we feel like we're getting stuck somewhere, we
Mm,
read it and we see like, okay, are we doing things to make sure this is going to happen in 10 years? And then
right.
what you'll start to notice in that 10-year letter, like let's say you read it 4 years from now, you'll start to notice those things are slowly starting to happen. So it's just a matter of commitment.
Yeah. I love
Mhm.
that. So I wrote down mindset, commitment. Remember, you're gonna have some times of failure. You're gonna learn some lessons, being persistent, and then remembering your why.
Mhm.
yours is family, and then having financial freedom and just freedom to move about and enjoy life.
Yeah,
So
Definitely.
I
and
love that.
definitely keep God first, whatever your faith is. Just make sure you lean on that because like Micah said, within all those things, it gets hard to keep the mindset, the faith, the persistence. That gets hard on your own. So,
Sure, for sure. So we had a quick question. Actually, Mr. Randall asked for the mentor recommendation, and then he also asked if you all could. Oh, Daniel, you still with us, honey? If you can explain the reverse 1031 once more.
Yeah, totally. Reverse. So a standard exchange is you sell and then buy. Reverse is just the reverse of that. So you buy a property first and then sell. So your timelines are flipped. You have 45 days to identify a property you're going to sell and 180 days to sell it because you started with the purchase. Um, some people use the reverse because they think it takes the 45-day timeline out of the equation. Like it's a lot easier to buy and then sell, and then you don't have to really identify anything because you know what you're going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
uh, but right now, what I tell people doing a reverse right now, outside of the extra cost, is the market's softening a little bit. So like
Right.
things are staying on the market for longer. So that 180-day timeline to sell becomes like the new timeline.
Okay. Did that answer your question, Mr. Randall? Let's see.
Yes,
That
it
was my
did.
question. Yeah, too. So
But it
yeah.
wasn't my question. I'm glad somebody asked it though.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, it was Trey. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so
It's
sorry.
all good. No, thank you. That answered my question. I'll be in touch. Thanks.
Very good.
Cool.
So before you see the ways that you can connect with Myka and Mahogany, and then I also have a chart here that I'll pop up in just a second, so you all can take a screenshot of the various contact methods you can reach out to these lovely people. And I'm so grateful that they joined us. Does anyone else have any other questions?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have a customer who is getting ready to possibly put her home on the market.
Mhm.
It has been used kind of as a rental. She has not lived there in some years. So I'm just trying to see, is it best for her to go ahead and build a 1031 exchange on that property now so that she can, when she sells it, she can buy another property?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if you convert a primary residence to a investment property so that you can 1031, you have to have used it as an investment for 2 years. So you do want to show rental income for 2 years because it was a primary residence previously. So if they can show rental income for 2 years, uh, then I would feel really good about them doing an exchange. Um, they when they sell a property, they do get Section 121 exclusion if they live there for 2 of the last 5 as a primary residence. So, do you know when the last time they lived there was?
It's probably been, I mean, I think it's been over 5 years for sure.
Okay, yeah. So, because if you live there for 2 of the last 5, you get a Section 121 exclusion. So, like, it's kind of a unique strategy. What some people will do if they have a large gain on a primary residence is they will rent it out for 2 years and then sell it, take the Section 121 exclusion because they've lived there 2 of the last 5, and then they can 1031 and defer the rest of the tax bill because they used it as a primary for 2 of the last 5, and then they just rented it out for 2 years. But I would ask that person if they reported any rental income on their taxes for 2 years, and if so, a 1031 could make sense.
Any other questions? And y'all can follow them on Instagram, the Live, Let Thrive, Share B&B. Y'all can follow on Instagram. Daniel, do you all have an Instagram?
I don't have an. I should get one. I have a LinkedIn. I think I'm pretty. I think I would give pretty good 1031 advice on there. I'll throw it in the chat.
Okay, and I'm just gonna put up our last slide here. It's got these lovely folks, Myka, Mahogany, and then Daniel. So this is just anybody's reminder, that if you have clients or you have your own personal goals, there are so many different avenues in which you can work to achieve them. The Hunt team is always here to help you, but we want to partner with other people who are like-minded, who have, blessings in store for you as well by sharing their wealth of knowledge. And I really do appreciate that because now you've gotten about a 10-year experience, live experience just shared with you. And hopefully it's going to help answer some questions and just help you guys move forward in your goals of being real estate investors or assisting your clients. Let's see, there's our referral code for our mentor. Okay, so they have a referral code if you share that you were referred by the Artis family. So, and we always can reach out to them if we have any further questions. Thank y'all so much. I don't want to take up all of your time. Oh, we're still chatting. We're still chatting. Okay, it's all good. Well, thank y'all so much. Y'all have truly been a blessing, and I thank you for taking time out to be with us. Let's see. What are you doing, Daniel? You hooking us up?
I'm just giving my information out.
Okay,
But
good.
yeah, if anyone needs anything, always happy to chat.
Did you put it in the chat, sweetie?
I did.
Okay, let me make sure.
Thank you all for having us. We appreciate
Oh,
it.
you are
Yeah, thank you.
welcome. I'm gonna start packing because we're going to California.
Oh, really? Okay, have fun.
Y'all, with y'all.
Oh, you're going with us. Okay, come on.
It's my joke. I'm sorry.
And
All
we can
right.
give you a link if you want to come.
Huh, what'd you say?
We can give you a link if you want to come. We're gonna be doing some real estate stuff in Huntington Beach. So
Do y'all need a nanny?
nah, we dropping them off with the grandparents.
See, you can sign me up to be the nanny.
Oh,
All right. Thank y'all so much. Have an amazing day.
thank you. You too.
Bye bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Thank you, everybody.